TheAdvocateChannel.com looks at the world through the lens of equality and inclusion. Subscribe, like, and share now. AC 24/7's top story countdown continues with our producer's pick for number 3.
Commanders of a Taiwanese mechanized infantry combat team lay out their battle plan. Today's mission, defending the Penghu Islands, situated right in the middle of the Taiwan Strait, from a Chinese paratrooper assault. In rapid succession, infantry units storm a captured airfield. A column of tanks quickly follows. This maneuver is just a training exercise, but with the very serious goal of readying these forces to defend Taiwan from a Chinese invasion.
In the event of a paratrooper assault on the Magong Air Base, our troops will be able to respond instantly and defend the territory.
Exercises like this one are almost daily events on Taiwan's Penghu Islands. Less than 100 miles from mainland China, they are a first line of defense for Taiwan against a Chinese invasion, home to Taiwanese Army, Air Force, and naval bases. And not all operations for these forces are simulations. In fact, as I visited Penghu, 4 PLA Air Force fighter jets entered Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone. Taiwanese Air Force fighters from Magong Air Base scrambled to respond. Before they fly, they are armed with live ammunition for combat. Lieutenant Colonel Bisha Kwan, call sign Big, commands the Coyote Squadron.
Sometimes it's reconnaissance, sometimes it is training. Although we're performing combat readiness missions here, the training has never stopped.
Are you proud of the job you do here?
Of course.
Taiwanese Navy ships based here have had close calls of their own, and they sail with an array of anti-ship and anti-air missiles to do their part in defending against an invasion. The Taiwanese military here in Penghu is engaged not just in drills and training, but in genuine operations, responding to Chinese military operations in the Taiwan Strait. And commanders in the Navy, the Air Force, and the Army tell me their mission is to prepare to defend their country. Taiwan buys billions of dollars in weapons from the U.S., but its defense plan depends in large part on developing and manufacturing many of its own weapons. Its indigenous fighter jets and many of its Navy frigates and APCs and tanks are all Taiwan built.
That's our territorial water. We won't allow other countries to sail through that waters without permission.
On Penghu, Taiwanese military units are widely dispersed for force protection, to make them more difficult targets for any invading force. There's a saying here, one commander told me, if you want to take Taiwan, you have to take Penghu first. And these forces are training to make sure that never happens.
Like the Advocate channel on Facebook for the best way to get updates on stories that advocate for equality, justice, our rights, and more. AC 24/7 continues with today's top 2 pick.
This was when I first made Sephora Squad.
And that's when Kaya Johnson identified as a gay man.
When I was a little boy, people would always call me gay, and I didn't even know what that was.
This is Kaya back then. Hezekiah back then, and then now Kaya.
That's Kaya in South Korea.
This is making me so emotional.
Preparing for gender-affirming treatment.
This was really hard for us as parents because Kaya was our only son.
Gina and Auntie Johnson raised 3 children.
I was so afraid of what people was going to say about us as parents. Us being my husband a minister.
I wouldn't choose to be trans. If I had a choice, I would not choose it because of all the hell that I've gone through. Being a preacher's kid, I was taught that, homosexuality is a bad thing.
This hasn't been an easy transition as a father. There's a difference between agreement and acceptance. And for me, nope, I don't agree.
Ante went live on social media after finding out Kaya is transgender.
People were wanting me as a father to pivot with, the pronouns and all that. And it's like, whoa, I'm I'm just learning this.
No.
I just heard this.
I said, Kaya, you have to give your dad time because that's a hard pill to swallow.
I'm human. Forget the trans. I'm just a human that just wants to live their life. I was extremely suicidal. I was scared.
And for me, that's a non-negotiable. I'm not gonna lose my child, but here's the power of transformation. The Lord spoke very audibly to me, until you gotta let love lead. How would he handle this? What would he do? And so that's really challenged my theology and my perspective. I'm still growing, I'm still learning.
Growth is a journey.
During the time in Korea, I went through a whole grieving process for that whole month. And I said to myself, I said, you have to let your children live. And you have to let your children do what they want to do. She's happy.
Do you think you ever will call Kaya she or her, or say my daughter?
I'm not sure. That's something that I'm struggling with.
Another struggle, bills targeting the LGBTQ plus community. Nearly 500 across the country introduced this legislative session, according to the ACLU, including a record number in Indiana, where Kaya's parents live.
It's foolishness. So is justice just for some people and not for everybody?
All I want from my parents, my dad, my mom, is their love.
My baby has taught me to really reevaluate and reimagine love and what love is.
Your love is so sweet, it knocks me right off of my feet.
Follow the Advocate channel on Twitter and Instagram to stay updated on stories that matter every day. Here's our #1 story of the day. Take a look.
Racing time, the elements, and an ocean of unknowns. Those trying to find the Titan face dwindling odds of success. Underwater rescues are inherently complicated, dangerous, and the deep sea makes it all harder. Author Stephen McGinty knows.
It's hard to even imagine that. 2 miles of water above you, the immense darkness, no natural light, the weight of that crushing weight. So you're operating in pitch darkness at a depth that many things will fail.
His book, The Dive, is about the deepest ocean rescue to date. In the early 1970s, the Pisces III sank nearly 1,600 feet below the surface while laying an undersea phone cable off the coast of Ireland. For 3 days, ships, submarines, and robotic vessels struggled to get lines attached and haul up the submersible with its 2 experienced sailors. Finally, success.
Was there a stage at all when you began to wonder whether you'd ever get up safely?
Not at all, no. We had about a day's supply left for life support, and we knew what was going on. We could talk to the surface all the time, so there was no trouble at all.
Not exactly. Like the Titan, the Pisces had limited air, just enough for 72 hours. The 2 men extended it by lying still and not talking. And when they finally emerged after 84 hours, they had enough for only 12 minutes more. So how different is the Titan's predicament? The Pisces was located quickly, 120 miles offshore. The Titan is still missing more than 400 miles from land. The Pisces had steady communications. No one has spoken with the Titan since it vanished. The Titan is in much deeper water. And yet, even when the Pisces was pulled up, the men inside were terribly battered.
They thought they were going to be smashed unconscious inside the sub. So the sub was just rattling and rolling and spinning. And at one point, they begged for the lift to stop.
There have been other undersea rescue attempts. In 1939, when the USS Squala sank off the East Coast in less than 250 feet of water, 26 men drowned, 33 were saved. In 2000, when the Russian sub Kursk suffered a pair of onboard explosions in the Barents Sea, despite early hopes for survivors, the entire crew of 118 perished.